Jamie. I don't normally get to talk about on my other podcast. I don't usually get to talk about this, but this is the place for that social and political stuff right here. Now, I'm not a political person like that, but after what I started going through and realizing that I was going through the blacklisting and the harassment, that's when I started becoming political. That's when I started like, you know what? This thing is deep. It's deep. And when I looked around for men to help me, the men could not help me because the men were already sold out. You see what I'm saying? They were already sold out. They was already brought and paid for. So there was no man around to help me. And so when people started coming at me talking about, well, won't you have them do this? Have them do that? You can't have them do this and do that when they're sold out against you. They're not even going to try to help you. They're going to look at you like you crazy. Like, what is this bat talking about now? That's what they're going to look at. And that's why I got to explain to a lot of women that may listen to me today, the language of a Bruce. It's not always directly the way you think it should be. What sounds like a Bruce and what looks like a Bruce, you cannot always put it out there as a Bruce the way you would want to whenever you're dealing with someone who's been blacklisted or someone who has been harassed to the degree that I'm talking about. To the degree where people are hired to harass you and you get the gang stalking and stuff. And if you don't know what gang stalking is, please go look it up. We need more people aware of this because it's going on everywhere. It's happening to young people. It's happening to older people. But it's mainly happening to women. It's happening to a lot of women. I look at my county. Montgomery County, North Carolina, has strong black women. You know why we so strong? Because we've had to fight the whole time that we've been here. That's why we're strong. That's why we're strong in nature, because that's all we knew was fighting. So even when we tried to get ourselves together, when we did get ourselves together, we still had to fight. And that's because there's always been a people against us the whole time. The whole time we're overcoming drug addiction, molestation, rapes. The whole time that we're overcoming being lied on, talked about, slandered out there in the streets. We wasn't thinking that once we got ourselves together that we were going to have to fight against a whole nother system. Now we know we're going to fight against the devil, but nobody thinks that devil is in places like the schoolhouses, the police departments, the fire departments. Let me tell you some of the most dangerous people in the world. Some of the most dangerous people in the world are people in high positions. And when I say high positions, I am talking about these board members. Sometimes you get to see them, sometimes you don't. These people that are doctors, and they are just, they have high-ranking titles. These people are very dangerous. And the reason why they're in these positions is because they are very dangerous, and because they are willing to do whatever it takes to move an individual out the way if they're interfering with their plans. Now, we got a county that's all of a sudden growing and getting a lot of money in it lately. Problem is, we need to shut up those that keep talking. Those that run their mouth on this county, we got to shut them up. Those that run their mouths on our small towns, and our small towns just got where we're getting bigger amounts of money. But here we go. We got a black woman over here complaining that, somebody's harassing her. Then we got a black woman over here complaining that somebody's stealing from a building and stealing from community citizens. Then we got another black woman complaining that, she's not getting paid fairly or there's mistreatment. Then we got another black woman complaining that, hey, I'm being harassed by the government. And we have all of these women that are going through something. They're going through something deep. But there's nobody here to help them with what they're going through, because nobody hears them. I got to share this out one more time. Nobody hears what they're saying because they have been told that, hey, this person's a troublemaker. She's crazy. Don't believe anything she says. And why does they believe this lie? Because everybody believes this lie because it's coming from a high-ranking official. Surely this high-ranking official cannot be crazy. He cannot be telling lies. She cannot be telling lies on somebody. They got to be telling the truth. So this person is crazy. Even though we don't have a diagnosis on it, we're going to go ahead and just start the rumor. If we start the rumor, pretty soon, if she's not crazy, she will become crazy. Okay? And that's what we're working with now. Now, back in the days, coming up, I heard blacklist one time. And actually, it was not called blacklist. Listen now, I'm telling y'all the language of a Bruce. When you're coming down to dealing with government things, this is the language of a Bruce. I've heard the term blackballed one time in my life. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And he looked at me and he said, well, y'all excluded me from the county. You excluded me from the neighborhood because everybody else got lights except for me. And I didn't understand what he was saying. And I said, well, sir, I'll call the light company for you and we'll get you some lights on and you're welcome to sit here if you want. That wasn't good enough for him. He was angry. He was mad because a black woman had lights and he didn't. Next thing I know, there's a whole fence of wood put up in my area to block us off from one another. The reason why he didn't have lights, I don't know. The light company didn't get to him yet. It was a storm and a whole bunch of people didn't have lights and we had just got our lights on. And he didn't like that we got our lights on first. That right there was the language of a Bruce. To come and say, well, y'all blackballed me from the community. I don't have lights. That was the beginning start of it. However, the word blackball is not a word that you hear in days like 2023. We don't hear that too much, right? We only hear that in like Hollywood or something, but never in these small towns where we believe that blacklisting can happen, that blackballing can happen. No, this ain't it. Not for these small towns like this. But let me tell you something. It has always happened. If you go back to your great-great-grandparents and see the struggle and think about some of the stories they told you as you was growing up and how they had to struggle and how they had to keep so-and-so from stealing their stuff and how they had to shoot at people to keep them off of their properties and stuff. The same thing is happening today. And if you are a single black female, then yeah, you got it real bad. You got it real hard on you right now. Yes, that is the language of abuse. They don't call it blackball or blacklisting. What they do is they call it harassment techniques, or they call it help me out, partner. I got a little troublemaker there, and I just want to scare her up a bit to get her calm and quiet. And what do? They put your name on this list and they circulate it around town. Back in the days, they had flyers. Today, we got technology. Technology will get it there in no time. If you committed a crime in North Carolina, you can also see it in New York. If you committed a crime in Mexico, you can also see it in North Carolina. If it's in the computer, if it's on the computer, it goes places. So that means so does your name and any information about you. In live time right now, I do believe with all of my heart that I am being watched and listened to. And not just on this podcast, but also on the black web or dark web or secret links that are being passed out about me, where people get to see my everyday life, my everyday move. They know everything I do, even down to how many times I use the bathroom, how many times I don't. And that's why I chose to let you know what the language of abuse is, because if you don't know, you're going to automatically assume that what you're going through is normal. Or that it's menopause. Maybe it's just some sickness that you picked up along the way, and now all of a sudden you got the stomach bug, which is not true. A lot of the sicknesses that black women go through is because it's induced upon us so that we can't create more babies. We can't create more babies. That we can't function right. Why do women? You notice something? Let me say this. Have you noticed that if you look at any statistic out there, that black women have the worstest hearts out here? When it comes down to heart disease, we have it the worst, even out of men. Black women. Black women. Because we have been targeted since birth. And the black man has too. The thing now, though, the black men have become such girlified that they kind of laid back in the corner, while us black women are taking all this heat and beatings. We have the worst health out of all these races out here. We have it the worst. And you know why? Because whether you are on that list or not, just because of your race alone, they have so many people that are on these lists that they can't keep up with everybody. So why not treat them all the same? And this is what a lot of you didn't think about before you joined these fusion centers and these InfoGuard role plays and stuff. You did not think that this stuff would come back on you, and that now you're going to be the one fighting for your life. Your daughter's going to be fighting for her life, fighting for her rights. You didn't think about that. Anytime somebody asks you to join something that says do something to another person, that's the moment you ought to mature up and say, that ain't my problem. I'm not in it. I'm not going to do it. I refuse to hurt another human being. But if you choose to take part in this targeting and beating down of black women, then you are no better than the person who ordered it. You are no better than them. And you might as well sit back and get ready for a double dose of it. Because whatever they ordered is, and you did it, you fulfilled their order, it's coming back to you. And it's going back to them. So no matter who your target is, It's going to come back to you. I'm a firm believer in you reap what you sow. It will come back. Sometime sooner than later. And that's what we're seeing now in our county, is a line of black women trying to survive, trying to get the word out that, hey, y'all, we got to stop this. We got to get it stopped. Well, it can't stop until we stop supporting it. And I'm talking about, when I named the most dangerous people that you can know, is people in high positions. And what I mean by that, even if you are just a school teacher, that is a higher position than a janitor. Y'all know in the way human beings think, in the way humans think, a janitor ain't nobody, right? The devil is a liar. So the thing is, when you're talking to Bruce, a blacklist is a list of people who are undesired. Undesired. They are deemed crazy, delusional, unfit for society. Nobody wants to be around them. Nobody wants to serve them. And if they serve you, you better watch your food, because now you're not even considered a citizen of the United States or your community. And if by chance you do get to keep going to church and enjoying some of the community activities, oh, we're going to watch you hard, and we're going to stare you down so bad to the point where you want to leave and go home and just cry. Go home and cry. You don't belong here. See, they don't do it directly to you. They do it indirectly to you. Whatever pain they want to cause and inflict on you, it comes through indirect harassment. It never comes directly from the one who has ordered it, because they're not going to get their hands dirty. They just hire you to get your hands dirty. If you get caught doing it, they're going to leave you hanging and say they never knew you. And you ain't got to worry about that, because God already seen you do what you do. So you already caught. But as far as legal terms, yeah. And in some instances, it's like this. When a black woman calls to make a report, she may not even get that report taken. I have experienced that. I called to make several reports, and I was told I was not allowed to make reports because they were just there to make sure my well-being was okay. Because I'm a little old lady. Mind you, when I first made this call, I was like 45 years old. And they want to tell me I'm a little old lady who lives in the woods by herself and needs somebody to come out and stay with her because, you know, it gets lonely back here. And sometimes you can think you hear stuff and you don't hear nothing. And then I look at the officer like, what the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? What do you mean? I'm out here lonely. What do you mean? I'm not even going around visiting people. My children live beside me. They visit me every day. How lonely can I be when I have people visiting me every day? I talk to my siblings every day. Every day. Even when we mad with one another, we still talk. But according to their eyes, I'm just a little old delusional lady. Now this is the language of a Bruce. When you can deem innocent people crazy and delusional just because you don't want to serve them or you don't agree with what they have said. When you can sit back and hire people to come and harass somebody just because you don't agree with what they said. The problem is, it's not that they don't know what you said is true. They just don't need it to get out, because if it gets out, then they lose income. And when you're talking about messing with town and county's money, you're talking about messing with their pockets. Am I right about it, somebody? You're talking about messing with their pockets. And when you start messing with people's pockets, that's where the danger threat comes in there. That's where the threat comes in. So the language of abuse looks like this. You're not going to agree with something they say. Let me give you an example. I want to put a home on my property. Well, your property needs to be at least 1 acre, and you need to make sure that you put like a double wide or a modular home, and it needs to be bricked in, and porch, and deck, and we require that you do a little extra this and extra that in order to put this home in there. Okay, but older woman 95 years old, 94 years old, 93, maybe 93 at the time, can't afford a double wide. She's in the grace of her years. She just wants a nice something she can afford to pay rent on, or not rent, but afford to pay for, and be, rest okay at home. She just wants something to replace her home. Her home burned down, so she wants a replacement home. But she doesn't want to get a double wide because that's too big, and the price of it is outrageous at her age. Why would she want to spend all those years paying on, something extravagant when it's unnecessary? Plus, she's a widow and she's disabled. So, what this looks like, again, I'm giving you a scenario. They come back and say, well, the only way that this can be done is if the zoning is changed. But we don't plan on changing the zoning. Then somebody speaks up and say, well, what if we get a petition? Would a petition help to change the zoning? Now, this is the problem when everybody's eyes gets big. Wait a minute. This woman is talking about changing the zoning? If she changes the zoning, that's going to mess with our plans. And that's going to change all of the town's zoning. This ain't going to just affect her. It's going to affect the whole town. They making it real big, as if this woman came in and made trouble. It's going to affect the whole town. If she changes this, if she starts this petition thing, then everybody's going to want to do it. And they get anxiety instantly. They start automatically making a mountain out of a mole. And come back and they say, well, if you go to the county and you request for a zoning to be changed, it's got to come back to us, and we still going to say no. So that was what the problem was right there. That a woman said that she wanted to change the zoning, so she offered to get a petition to go around and sign to ask the neighbors, would it be okay if we were to change the zoning over here? It wasn't like she was going to just change the zoning on her own or not think about the others in this town. A petition means you actually go around to people and you ask them, are you in favor of this? And if so, if you are in favor of this, then can you sign for this to happen for this woman? But it never got to that point because of the blacklisting. Because as soon as the woman said petition, her name automatically was thrown onto this list of troublemakers. She was automatically considered a troublemaker. And once she became a troublemaker to them, messing with their money, their plans to have non-residential zoning, only industrial zoning to bring in more factories and stuff, bringing more factories, restaurants and stuff, and forget that people need homes. We can settle for a few people not having homes. But what we can't settle for is having her change this zoning into residential when we need it to remain industrial so we can get our funds. Now this is where the problem came in at because of the petition. By the way, the neighbors never did sign the petition because the petition never came about because, for one thing, all of a sudden, everybody started getting sick in the family. All of a sudden, people started getting memory issues, aka Havana syndrome. Go look it up what Havana syndrome is. The women in this family began to get Havana syndrome, which comes from a laser being beamed on them, on the brain fog. Beyond brain fog, some people end up with Alzheimer's disease, burns, and so the petition never went out. Yet the women's names were still listed. Not just one lady, but several of the family members, the ladies in this family, names were listed. All black women listed on this blacklist. That's the language of abuse that towns and counties shoot out. They don't outright do it. They want you to suffer. They want you to suffer, and that's how they make you suffer, by putting your name on that list. Every one of those ladies are going through something right now. And I don't want to call any names, but I can say that I would suspect this is not the first time that this has happened to people in the community. The problem is people just don't know what to look for. We think we sick because we sick, right? We think we sick because it runs in our family. High blood pressure runs in our family. Heart disease runs in our family. Diabetes runs in our family. Nobody can induce me into having diabetes, or can they? They can. They can induce you into having diabetes. Yes, type 2 and type 1. They can make your body so weak from these lasers till you crave nothing but sweet. And that's how you end up with your type 2 diabetes. Because it's hard it's hard not to crave the sweets because of the low energy that your body is craving something to hurry up, pump me up, prime me up. I can't work throughout the day. I can't think because I need something to get my sugar up. I'm weak. And so the body craves these carbohydrates. Once you begin to eat these carbohydrates, now you're type 2 diabetic. And it's hard to stop because it becomes an addiction. You need these sugars, you need these coffees, you need these sodas every day. Because the addiction becomes so grand and you think that, oh, I just started eating this way. Or maybe something happened and you feel like, I'm depressed a little bit. Maybe that's why I'm eating this way. And depression is part of it. Depression does come along with it, but not until after you indulged in all these sweets. Then when that high comes down, you start to notice that you're in depression. Some people go in major depression. Some people in manic depression. This is the language of abuse. And this is what we don't often recognize. And also, once you start eating all those sweets, you start getting high blood pressure. If you was on one medication, now you're on 3. Because not only does these lasers make you weak, but they run your blood pressure up. They give you chronic kidney disease. Anybody just recently diagnosed with chronic kidney disease out of nowhere? You're doing fine 1 minute. You're getting your life together, and then all of a sudden, it seems like everything is against you, and you just don't know why. Or you're feeling like, it seems like every time I get one thing fixed, something else messes up. I'm talking about homes now because they invade your home, and they need 24/7 surveillance so they can know who you are. Once they know who you are and what it takes to make you sick and bring you down in health and finances, they aim to destroy the target. My whole house just went quiet. That's the aim, to destroy the target. Now I want to talk to each and every one of you. After I did all that dramatics for you, have you been through something like that? The men cannot help you. Men can try to protect women all they want. But when this is done, they have ways of aiming at the woman, and a man won't even feel the same. He won't even feel it. Now, they do go after men too. Don't get me wrong. They do go after men too. but they mainly after women. And what I have seen lately in our county is black women falling from the grace of the county, not from the grace of God, but from the grace of the county. I have seen this. I talked about it almost probably like 6 months ago. I don't know. I started talking about it on this channel, Talk Jamie Talk, because I just felt it was a need to start talking about it, because it seemed like any woman that has any power in her voice, or they feel threatened by, they're going to come after you. And the black women who have laughed about it and who have taken part against another black woman, did you not think that this was going to interfere with you and your children? And possibly your husband? Because you got to think, you taking part in this gang stalking thing. You got children that need to go to the hospital. You got family members that go to doctors. You go to doctors. If they treat one person unethical, they are treating all of us unethical. If they agree to hurt one of us, they have agreed to hurt all of us. Because pretty soon, doggone it, it's just like I said, they're going to get confused with who's who. And so they're just going to do it to everybody to keep from the stress of it taking them down. I've even heard some say, I'm tired of this. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just a patient. What are you talking about? I'm tired of taking care of these cops. These guys are overdosing like crazy, and I'm tired of it. First thing I say, well, a lot of them are psychopaths. I won't do that again. But I did say that. I said a lot of them need help. They do need help. Our officers need help more than ever. Our first responders need help. They have family members doping out and losing family members and to these drug overdoses, and they have to keep it in the closet. Doctors are tired. Their hands are full. A lot of them just wanted to really work on people and, help people with their health. They had no idea they were signing up to take lives versus help prolong lives or give better qualities of life. I don't regret what I said about officers. I also said in the same breath that I pray that a lot of them get help, the help they need, because they're under such stress that even if they wanted to help, because they know what goes on behind closed doors in situations like this, they probably will not help. They probably will not. They have seen what happens to targets, so they probably will not, they won't try to help, because they know that every which way you turn, no matter where you turn, somebody is involved in something to do with the manipulation and harassment of these people whose names are on these lists. And the MacArthur Blacklist is the name of it. This is an illegal list that was put out back in the days. And people have not stopped using that tactic to shut people up. That's the language of abuse. When they use you against you, they use your private life against you, family members against you, friends, co-workers, till you feel isolated, till you are isolated and you're down to nothing, nobody. Can I help you on today? Can I help you on tonight? How you get people in your life? Is you live by that word of God. That's where your help comes from. You know how you're going to get through this? You're not going to worry about the part if you're going to live or die, because eventually we all going to die someday. Hopefully not today or tomorrow, but long days away. But reality is nobody's getting off of this planet alive, okay? The second thing I want to tell you is that if you really live by the word of God and you say, I love everybody, then do that. Do that. Because love covers a multitude of sin. Love will teach you how to treat people right that treat you wrong. The word of God says love your enemies. Right? Don't mean you gotta kiss their butt or agree to what they're doing to you. But I promise you, if you keep love lit in your heart and you don't become dark, you're going to live a fulfilled life regardless who's against you. The next thing is, when you see things are wrong, tell somebody. Tell somebody. Even though people won't listen to you, you keep speaking up, because somebody's story out there is the same as yours. Somebody, if it's happening to you, it's been happening to more than one person. Our black women need to stop being against each other. You know, I witnessed firsthand that a woman that might have a great job may look at another black woman who's on welfare and be like, well, they need to just get off their butt and go to work. You know, talking like that. It's a way to encourage people to get back to work and tell them, listen, we need to get you here instead of you being back here, because I know there's more for you. There's a way to talk to people. You don't have to humiliate and harass them about them being on any type of welfare system or anything like that, because I'm going to tell you something. Whether you're on the welfare system or not, we're all on the government system. That's still welfare. The welfare of the people. Okay? Welfare of the people. Hear me clearly. When they say the people, that's us as a all in the United States. The welfare of the people. Whether you are black, white, Hispanic, Indian, African, Black American, or Black American, it doesn't matter. The welfare of the people. When they go and do a welfare check, you don't have to be receiving a welfare check. Okay? You don't have to be receiving that for them to do a welfare check on you. That's because the government is welfare of the people. As long as you hold $1 in your hand, that's an American dollar, you're part of the welfare of the people. That's all it takes. You're spending American dollars, you're on American soil, you're part of the welfare system. It's a high system, it's a low system. That's how, like people get big tax breaks who got money. Because they're part of the system too. They're just a different part. They higher up than the person that's on welfare. Middle class, you're no better. You're still part of the system too. Black women, rich or poor, $1 million lady to the $5 lady. You're still part of the American welfare system. Okay? We are in a time when we need each other more than ever. And we're also in a time where you can't trust nobody more than ever. So you're going to have to discern on that. But how you get through that, again, is use love. Love does cover a multitude of sin, but it also discerns. See, love will love you so much that it would discern, do I need to be around this person? Or do I need to go to the next person today? See, you could tell when people treating you funny. Or when they saying stuff that you don't agree with. Or they mocking and trying to humiliate you and harass you on the sly. You can feel all of that. See, the problem is we are social beings. So just like the pandemic taught us 2020, when you take the social out of being, you get a bunch of crazy people. Introverts. Yes, we are introverts. Yes, we can survive on our own because we love being by ourselves. But when we need people, we need them. You see what I'm saying? So we still need people in our life, even though we can have fun on our own. We still need people in our life. Extroverts. Listen, you can go out and have all the fun in the world you want to, but when your mind comes down long enough to come into home, you still need people. So whether these people are right or wrong, we still have to stay active in our communities. First thing I wanted to do was, not be active at all. I was like, I'm tired of this already. And then God reminded me, you tired so soon? You tired this soon? You ain't even seen nothing yet. And I was like, oh my God. So I had to learn not to be tired so soon in the battle. That meant I had to learn how to pick my battles. Somebody talking nice to you, be nice back. It take a lot of energy to get upset and huff and puff and want to tell people off. I know I tried it, y'all, and that just wasn't me. That wasn't me at all. I would tell my daughter, I said, oh my God, I don't even like trying to put people in their place like that. And it was wrong. It took more out of me to say what I had to say than it did out of the person who was actually doing the actual thing. So you got to pick your battles. Pick your battles. Still get in public. Still live the life that God has given you. Take up for each other. When it's time to take up, stand in numbers. Or if you got to stand alone, stand alone. But you stand. And make sure when you stand, you're with people who are on the same page. Because people can sound like they're on the same page. It was just like something I was reading earlier. And then I began to think about something. How a woman was having a conversation one day. And this is the thing about black women who have been targeted. Please be careful of this. Because people can have conversations with you. And the whole time they just trying to tell you, look, we've been watching you. I'm monitoring you. And that's how they can replay or mirror back what you have been talking about or things you have been doing in your home. Certain things you've been eating or drinking. Say, for instance, if you drunk a Coca-Cola, you might see a lot of people come up around you walking, drinking a Coca-Cola. Because they trying to let you know, hey, we just saw what you drunk. You can't be offended by the copycats. Don't be offended by them. They're hired to do so. They don't know nothing really about you. Only what they have been told, what they see. They don't know your true heart, your true intentions. Don't be offended by that. I had people walking around me drinking water all day. And they would let me know, yeah, we know you ain't got water like that. Yeah, we know you gotta drink water because we shut your water off. You gotta use water bottles. We know that. They'll send commercials your way that target things that you need in your house or things that you use. And you'll be like, what? How is this TV or this phone all of a sudden always, putting up something I need or something I said? Because the greatest enemy out here, besides Satan, is technology. Satan is the number one. Technology, I think, is number two. And I say that because technology and the people that use technology for evil. Because this same little phone that I'm talking on now, that I'm doing my podcast on, it also has a camera that people are watching me live right now. They're watching me through my camera. They're watching me through my TV camera. They hear everything that I say. Well, the TV doesn't have a camera, but they put one in it. They hear everything I say. Because they want to keep up with us targets. They want to know what we are doing. And I'm going to rebuke that word target because I am nobody's target. I am who I am, but I had to break it down in the Bruce language so that you know how to use this language. If you ever got to go report something, don't go reporting something talking about, hey, I'm a target. No, don't do that. Don't do that. This is just the abusive language that you need to understand. Now, the language that you need to report crime It's how you would report crime. You don't go say, hey, I'm a target and these people are harassing me. These people hurt me. You just go say, somebody's harassing me. I noticed they were following me here and following me there. Or, whatever they did to you, you say, I'd like to report a crime. You don't add all that extra stuff into it, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you do, you're going to not get no report made. Calm down before you make a report. Calm down. Don't be hysterical. Whatever has happened, you have to calm down. Because if you don't calm down and you go around them hysterical, they're going to say, yeah, that woman was crazy. That woman's delusional. I couldn't get nothing in. I couldn't make what she was saying. She was just talking out her head. That's how they're going to look at you. So when you file a report, you file a report with common sense. You calm down. And you don't refer to yourself as a target. That's who they are calling us. That's what they are calling us. That's not who God has called us. And that's why I had to rebuke that term a while ago. Because that's what they say. And that's the language you need to look for from them. But as far as who God says we are the apple of his eye. When you report these crimes that they are doing to you, be careful of your wording and your terms. Because if you go and report something off of what was told to you, it's going to be considered coerced. And they're not going to take you serious. So be careful of the terms. Know the terms. But use regular community terms when it comes down to reporting crime. And this is what it is. It's one whole big organized crime. But because it's so big, you're not going to ever be able to get them all at one time. Eventually, they'll all get theirs by God. But you can't get them all at one time. So you just get who you can get. Get who you can get as you can get. And let God do what God does. Now, I put this out here tonight for women who have been targeted, black women especially, that have been targeted in any area of life, because this whole thing is going to affect you and it's going to change your life. Let it change it for the better. I took what had been done to me and I published 6 books. Just use the time to work on yourself. Work hard as you can. Keep your hands busy. Keep your hands to the plow. As long as God has given you the grace and energy and the green light to go, keep plowing these fields. Keep cultivating these fields. Because we need the enemy not stopping working just because what they doing to you. So don't you stop. You don't stop working. You keep going. And do what you can to preserve your mind. Look for different types of EMF shielding and stuff, because you're going to need it. You need it. All right. And I think that's enough for me for today on Talk Jamie Talk. And I just hope that this encourages our young black women and older black women to really be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your wording and your language. And whenever you do come up against officials and you talk to them, always try to keep some type of recording on you. Keep something on you that can record at all times, like with the push of a button, like your phone. Be ready to record, because these conversations and these incidents get nasty. And this is how it leads to women becoming targets. It gets nasty. Real nasty. And if I was to leave y'all with anything on today, I would say keep standing. If you know what you're standing for is worthy, keep standing. You know God gave that to you, keep standing. Don't back off. Keep standing. We're going to have to go through some pain and moments that we don't like. But, if this is where God has you, keep standing. He will fight for you. And I'm a witness to that. So peace, love, and happiness. Until next time, you'll be listening to Talk Jamie Talk. If you have any questions, you can always inbox me on my Facebook. It's named Jamie Bowden. Or you can send me an email, misscocobowden@gmail.com. Next time, we're going to be talking about the blackmailing that comes with this targeting thing, okay?